wealth, but in our unity, our courage, and unbreakable faith. And every challenge we face is a reminder that light shines brightest in darkness. Even when insecurity shakes our confidence, we must not surrender our hearts to fear. Let's keep praying. Let's keep speaking peace. Let's keep standing for what is right. Because I know that together we are stronger than any threat. Together, we are the heartbeat of Africa, a people of faith, a people of strength, and a people of destiny. So keep believing, keep building, keep loving Nigeria. Our tomorrow is still worth fighting for. And that's my message to you this morning from the stables of I-FLIER 103.3 FM Ibadan, the perfect choice station for the I-FLIERs. My name is Samson Omotosho. So this morning we take a look at it, all the news making the rounds on the papers this very morning. Good morning, Nigerians. Welcome aboard. So this morning we're going to deal with some certain issues, of course, on our several dailies this morning. So we'll take a look at them one after the other, and of course at the end, yes, we're going to do some analysis like we normally do, like this on Mondays and Fridays, and of course it's Monday through Saturdays we have this show. So tell a friend to tell another friend. Right now we're streaming live on Facebook at I-FLIER 103.3 FM live, and you can also join the conversation there. Drop your comment, like, and share. And we're also we're transmitting live from the Brown Roof City of Ibadan here in Ogungbade. All right, so let's begin with the Daily Post newspaper headlines this morning. It is breaking. Nnamdi Kanu may not appear in court today due to DSS obstruction, says as family warns. Also, Northern Hausa Christians write Tinubu Fagbemi, alleging persecution, denial of appointments. Also, Benue monarch urges Trump to expedite action on military threat. Well, in the ever-exciting world of sport over there in the EPL, English Premier League, they are performing very well. Pochettino hails two Chelsea players. Also, pandemonium in another story says Ten Hag in talks to return to former club Ajax Amsterdam. Well, the Vice President Shettima on the local scene calls for united front against insecurity. Still on the local scene, please take custody of kidnapped victim found tied up in Adamawa. And in politics, PDP, karma is real. Damagun wants betrayers. Also, PDP factions protest at U.S. Embassy shameful. Fayose hits Damagun, others. INEC Chair Amukpito says voter apathy greatest enemy of Anambra's democracy. Also, they should have gone to White House. Fayose mocks PDP factions protest at U.S. Embassy. Don't impose candidates ahead of 2027 polls. Shinkafi warns Zeleke. Osun APC clash over alleged defection plan to ADC. When the ever-exciting world of sport, Messi says, I'm grateful to God. Also, well, in the NNL, the Nigerian National League, top dignitaries to grace opening fixture in I-FLIER. While also in the Nigerian Women Football League, Robo Queens target positive outing in new season. Finally, Nadozie shortlisted for Best FIFA Women's Goalkeeper Award. That's the goalkeeper of the Super Falcon. And in business, food insecurity, NYSC urges Nigerian youth to engage in agribusiness. Also, energy poverty, balance electricity tariff with affordability for Nigerians, says NISO to Discos Gencos. Nigerian filling stations reduce fuel price as London cost drops. Fineries. So moving on to the Vanguard newspaper. On the front page of the Vanguard newspaper this morning, U.S. Congress proposes visa bans, assets freezes against Miyetti Allah. Also, Nigeria economy record strong growth, says Wale Edu. Well, for alleged genocide, Nnamdi Kanu writes Trump backs U.S. action against Nigeria. Alleged genocide, Nnamdi Kanu writes Trump backs U.S. action against Nigeria. Also, Yoruba Council declares national rally, backs Tinubu on ending fuel scarcity there. Yoruba Council declares national rally, backs Tinubu on ending fuel importation amend. While the group urges acting PDP chairman to restore party's glory. Also, police foil child trafficking attempt, arrest woman with 3 minors in Niger. Police arrest 2 with human parts in Benue. Mba Fubara Abiodun worry over the deplorable state of police training college in Rivers. And also alleged 400 million naira fraud. Court strikes out charge against Senator Uba. And also court freezes Indian businessman's account over 9.5 billion naira debt. Court orders Benue to pay ex-officials 57 million naira. Also, train crushes tricycle, 4 killed in Jos. Ahead, Anambra elections tomorrow. Anambra government declares Friday today work-free ahead of governorship election. Also, INEC begins the distribution of sensitive materials for Saturday's Anambra Guba election. Still on Anambra Guba, INEC tasks journalists to be guided by Electoral Act. INEC tasks journalists to be guided by Electoral Act. Still in Anambra, INEC worries over pattern of historic voter apathy. Finally, in Anambra State, Rep Ogene cautions Soludo Abgar against intimidation. Rep Ogene cautions Soludo Abgar against intimidation. And in politics, Tinubu swears in Doro Ude to replace Iwada Naji in federal cabinet. Also, PDP crisis, North Central stakeholders fault a purported suspension of Damag. APC woman leader, 100 supporters defect to NNPP in Kano. In Anambra election, keep to rules. Amukwita charges stakeholders. And PDP petitions IGP over alleged violent takeover of secretariat. Finally, U.S. threat. Nigeria not in panic mode, says federal government. Alright, so that's the much you'll be able to take on the Vanguard. Let's move on to the Nation newspaper. On the Nation newspaper this morning, Tinubu says we will defeat terrorism, secure every part of the country. And tariffs, import restrictions, others for review. Federal Executive Council rolls out a project approval. And Welsh Tima, Nigeria target 32% emission cut by 2035. Another story says how police are tackling banditry, other threats by IG Egbetokun. And the monarchs appoint Uzo trust policy. And Tinubu swears in Doro Ude as minister. Well, in entertainment, Queen Okonkwo scoops award nomination. Africa Fashion Show holds on Friday as Made Kuti headlines AMA 2025. So Sabi Chef 2025 winner to get 2 million naira prize money. Gracie Soul sets to headline Vibes on Fire EP listening party. Also, Koda goes on musical rampage. And the winner of the season 10, Bibi Naija says, Imisi says, I lost my pregnancy weeks before Bibi Naija audition. Alright, so that's the much you'll be able to take on the Nation. Let's quickly touch on the Punch, which is going to be the last for today. Yes, on the Punch newspaper, Trump threats. Tinubu rallies foreign allies as North rejects Sharia ban. Meanwhile, AEDC sacks 800 workers amid power crisis. Federal Executive Council okays a biometric flight burden PH Airport concession. That's Port Harcourt Airport concession. Also, newly inaugurated Tinubu campaign office demolished in Benue. And there's a video Regina Daniels breaks down in tears, says, I will go back. Groups deploy 687 monitors for Anambra Port. And 15-year-old Nigerian rescued from sex traffickers in Ghana. 15-year-old Nigerian rescued from sex traffickers in Ghana. The Metro Plus session of the paper, Pretty Mike gets 50 million naira bill for alleged drug offense. And our China protesters demand justice for rape victims in Lagos. Suspected Quebec bandits killed, a stolen phone recovered. And a Edo drug kingpin, 10 others jailed 79 years. So that's the much you'll be able to take on our several dailies. Analysis comes up shortly. Please stick around. right, so let's quickly get down to the nitty-gritty of the stories that I have in front of me this morning. Quite a number of them. We're going to touch them quickly so as to save time this very morning. Join me on the show, as always, Honorable Femi Adebisi. Good morning and welcome.
Barika Jumo Samson.
Yeah, he's the teacher.
Good morning, Nigeria. Yeah, of course. Yeah, beautiful and cool Friday morning. I welcome you all to the program.
All right, so let's quickly deal with the stories here. Let's see this story. Trump threats Tinubu rallies foreign allies as North rejects Sharia ban. You take a look at it. President Bola Tinubu on Thursday said his government was engaging with the world diplomatically following remarks by U.S. President Donald Trump, who threatened military action against the terror groups in Nigeria over the alleged mass killing of Christians. This was a collision of northern elders that rejected calls by some U.S. right-wing lawmakers to ban Sharia law in the country. Speaking at a Federal Executive Council meeting shortly after swearing in two new ministers, Dr. Bernard Doro and Dr. Kingsley Ude, SAN, Tinubu urged Nigerians not to succumb to despair, promising that the government will defeat every form of terrorism and secure every part of the country. In quote, he says, "We assure all of you that we will defeat terrorism in this country," end of quote. Tinubu said at Thursday's meeting held at the Council Chamber of the State House, Abuja, the first since July. Tinubu stated that Nigeria remains on a steady growth trajectory with more promise of stability and prosperity as economic reforms continue to yield result and gain national and international acceptance on the current state of the economy and the relationship between Nigeria and the United States. President Tinubu assured, in quote, "The most important thing is the fact that despite the political headwinds and the fear of our people, we will continue to engage with partners." He says again, in quote, "The success of the $2.3 billion Euro bond that was oversubscribed by 400% is the most assuring. So the task ahead is immense. We're engaging the world diplomatically, and we assure all of you that we will defeat terrorism in this country." End of quote. He says in quote again, "The task ahead is immense, but it is our resolve to move forward with unity and purpose, guided by the renewed hope agenda to build a prosperous, inclusive and resilient Nigeria," he further stated. End of quote. Tinubu's remarks come just days after United States President Donald Trump threatened military action against terror groups in Nigeria over the alleged mass killing of Christians. Trump, in a post on his social media platforms on Friday, announced that he was labeling Nigeria a country of particular concern. Hours later, he said he had instructed congressional Republicans to immediately look into this matter and report back to him on Saturday. Trump said he had ordered the U.S. Department of State, Department of War to prepare for possible action in Nigeria over the country's alleged killing of Christians. Speaking on Thursday, Tinubu called ministers and other officials to ensure consistency in communication and avoid discordant messaging. Minister of Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris, who addressed State House correspondents after the council meeting, said the federal government was calm and would not panic over Trump's threats. Idris said the government had opened formal diplomatic channels with the U.S. to address the matter. And he clarified so many things. I want to go to where he actually said some basic things that are very important. The president is calm, he says, like we have seen. Like we said, he's calm. The Federal Executive Council members are indeed very calm. This is not to discountenance the issue. We're not saying that, he noted. Idris insisted that President Tinubu administration is not indifferent to the challenges. He says in quote, are there security issues in the country? Yes. Are lives being lost? Yes. But is the government responding? Absolutely. He said that Nigeria remains a pluralistic society where freedom of religion is constitutionally protected. He says in quote again, but let me say for the umpteenth time, Nigeria is a country that has tolerance for religion. So whatever you practice, whatever is your faith, our constitution guarantees that you are free to practice that. We're also going to do more so that whatever concerns there are, the government of Nigeria will take care of those concerns, he said. I want you to know those parts. Are there insecurity in the country? Yes. Are lives being lost? Yes. But is the government responding?
They are responding, but not absolutely. Let me just put it that way. I listened to that particular message of the president yesterday, and well, of course, I offer my appreciation for him speaking about it. Well, he reaffirmed his administration's commitment to eradicating terrorism and achieving lasting peace in Nigeria. A whole lot of things are getting wrong every day. As at now, do you know that some parts of Nigeria have been, I don't know whether to say they have been conceded to the terrorists, or the terrorists have captured a part of Nigeria. That was mentioned by Falana recently, who claimed that there is a particular place they capture, wipe out the people, and set up what you call Caliphate Republic there in Nigeria. And of course, I listened to a particular House of Rep member mentioning that in my local government, in my cell, yes, in my constituency, up to about I've been taken over by the terrorists. The government is doing nothing, so they have not been absolute in terms of their response, to what you call security. Can you remember how many times we have been crying and begging the federal government that, look, let us convoke, national meeting that we celebrate in Nigeria? While our president was, addressing the Executive Council yesterday, Yemi Osinbajo was also addressed. Africa is the fastest growing continent in GDP terms, especially Nigeria, and has been so for a while. Yet it remains the continent with lowest overall quality of life based on global indices like health, education, infrastructure, and economy. So in other words, GDP growth does not mean for citizens, and anything that does not translate to that, it means that the government is absent. Yeah, they are not performing. So you are giving room for people to be vulnerable to insecurity, to security issues and a whole lot of things. So they'll be vulnerable to themselves. Some people will be taking their whole life. People are not happy. Citizens of Nigeria, where is happiness? So we are sacrificing our happiness to build GDP. The government just listening.
So if you build GDP, whose
it is the banks and the blue chip company that smiles to their bank from time to time. The ordinary man will just become aliens in their own country, becoming slaves in their own land, working for the masters. Who are they? The people in government, the people in big businesses, the Dangotes and all those stuff. So families are breaking up every day. So why won't people engage in terrorism if that will guarantee their daily living? So that is what the government need to look at. Not only that, I'm telling you, Murik Ishaq Akintola mentioned something. He said the Muslim need not to panic. It's not American action, it's not against the Muslim. In fact, the terror, the extremists in the Islamic world are terrorizing the Muslims. So the Muslims also need to seek help and cry out. This is not a moment of being divided or playing to the gallery of the antics of the so-called politicians, because they use that propaganda a lot. No, you see, now we need to face the fact at this time. It's not even enough to even roll out tanks and keep attacking the terrorists now. It is about mentioning, especially the people that are behind terrorism and financing them in this country. Now, you see, Falana was saying something, and I give my thumb up for that man. He said that Alimadu Sharif was playing on our intelligence. He has no link with terrorism, and he gave instances of where he funded and make sure that in the Boko Haram tribes in this country. So you see, all those facts need to be exposed. The government need to be proactive. The people in his government that has to be exposed must be exposed. The people outside the government that has to be, and especially say Gumi, Sheikh Gumi is crying now because he knows that he's one of those people that are being haunted. So why won't China support, or we've said what they are saying, because they know that they are also a part of terrorism activities in Nigeria, having funded terrorists, especially to make sure that their exploitation of our minerals is sustained. I'm telling you today, people are dying. You need to watch the video, especially the video Trump watched. You need to see how they just go into a community, wipe them off, and erect their own what you call signboard, signifying their whole republic in the Middle Belt. And the government is claiming that they are in control. They are not. They need to regain control now. Tinubu must act. I'm telling you, if it's going to cost him next election, he needs to act. And he will go into the book of records that Tinubu of this world conquered terrorism in Nigeria. That is enough for him. That is posterity. That is history. You see, it is not about how long, it's about how well. Tinubu need to know this.
All right. Okay, so let's take a look at this other story. We have to cut it very short. U.S. Congress proposes visa bans, asset freezes against Miyetti Allah. And a new bill introduced in the United States. Congress aims to impose targeted sanctions on the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, MACBAN, and Miyetti Allah Cattle Hure, citing alleged severe violations of religious freedom against Christians in Nigeria. That the proposed measures include visa bans and asset freezes for individuals associated with these groups. Representative Smith Christopher, who sponsored the bill on Tuesday, commended U.S. President Donald Trump for redesignating Nigeria as a country of particular concern, CPC, under the International Religious Freedom Act. The CPC designation is reserved for countries believed to engage in or tolerate particularly severe violations of religious freedom. This came as the federal government said yesterday that it remains calm and not in any panic mode over the position of the United States on the alleged genocide against Christians in the country. The government also said that it has opened up channels of discussions with the U.S. and assured that it committed as ever to ensure that it is committed as ever to ensure that everyone is safe, irrespective of religion.
The killings and genocide against innocent Nigerians, be it Muslim, be it Christians, be it any other religion members. So and in that direction, I think the activities, yes, must be looked into. If the Nigerian government is not looking into that, I think America should help us to look into that. So because the moment you extinguish the fire that sustain terrorism, then sustain will die naturally. And that is it. I think I enjoy that. And of course, some of our people are asking, yes, what happens to our sovereignty? They did not bother to ask our government. When we were intruding on the sovereignty of Niger Republic, there was a regime change. And do you know what we did against Niger Republic? Because of politics. It has to stop. We need to seek help where help will come.
All right, so let's take a look at this particular story here. Alleged Nigeria. Head of his scheduled case before the Federal High Court in Abuja today, the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Mazin Nnamdi Kanu, has sent a letter to the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, alleging a hidden genocide against Judeo Christians in the South, politically motivated, and urges U.S. support for a supervised referendum on self-determination in Nigeria, emphasizing his backing of potential U.S. action. Describing himself as a prisoner of conscience in court and a four-time survivor of state assassination, Jew, and a believer in the Judeo-Christian heritage that shaped many Western civilization, I was honored to attend your campaign event in Des Moines, Iowa in January 2020. Your bold declaration, he gave all of that, and these are the few things that he said concerning that. But let's look at it from another point of view.
Right.
He is coming out to say, okay, it is not just in the north, it is happening right here, even in the southeast of the country. And let me quickly read part of what he said. Existential threat. I write to you now to reveal that this genocide is not confined to the north. it has metastasized into the Igbo heartland. Metastasized into the Igbo heartland, where Judeo-Christians are being systematically exterminated under the guise of counter-terrorism.
You see, while I am in support of making sure that Kano is properly tried in the nick of time, that it shouldn't take this long. That the matter, so whether if you are going, if it's going to be jailed, let him be jailed. But of course, they have been keeping him for jail to genocide of Christians in the South. I think he's getting it wrong. It's purely emotional, and I know that the US will not listen to that. In fact, in what way, in practice, in what way is it different from the Boko Haram in its operation in the Southeast? Do you know how many Southeasterners that have been killed as a result of this agitation? Do you know how many businesses that have been lost? Do you know the amount of economic hours that have been wasted every Monday? They make sure that people are. It's like holding people captives and in hostage. That's why his actions. You see, I don't think he should link his own travel to, is he not a Christian? Is it not puppet? If it's called genocide, is it not a part of that genocide against the Christian in the Southeast? Genocide, is it not a part of that genocide against the Christian in the Southeast? So I think he should sit down. Maybe what he should do is to write the International Criminal Court that it's not likely to get justice here in Nigeria. That he is being this and that. That is if ICC will permit that. So, but America is not the one to talk about concerning that. He should just, take his case. He has taken it to ECOWAS once, and the ECOWAS said that, of course, they should try him out. They should look into his place speedily. That probably maybe he's not guilty. Yeah, if the government committed a particular offense in his extradition from Kenya down to place, let him take that to the ICC and not to America. America shouldn't be brought into this. All right. I know that they will listen to that anyway.
All right. So, finally, this morning, Nigeria economy records a strong growth, says Wale Edu. And the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edu, has said that the nation's economy is witnessing. Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edu, has said that the nation's economy is witnessing a progressive growth. Edu said that the Nigerian gross domestic product (GDP) grew by 4.23% in the second quarter of 2025, noting that it was the highest quarterly figure in a decade aside the post-COVID era.
Well, I think I want to remind Hedo. Daily Independent, November 20, 2023, he mentioned that Nigeria is having over $1 trillion debt capital. Why do the government fail to unlock that capital and keep borrowing every day? A layman can run government and keep borrowing to sustain the government. So it takes an expert, it takes a genius in government to get something out of nothing, and without affecting the quality of life of the people. So his own style of the economy is sacrificing families and businesses for GDP, for foreign reserves. That does not translate to quality of life for the people, making people vulnerable and throwing them into what you call abject poverty with it new day. Not only that, in December 2023, Oyedele, the chairman of the Tax Reform Committee, mentioned that Naira is grossly undervalued, and by December 2023 they will look into that, and Naira might drop to as low as 650 Naira to 750. That wasn't mentioned. Look at the rate of Naira as we are speaking. Why do we deliberately undervalue the Naira? Undervaluing your currency means that you are undervaluing your economy, undervaluing the people, undervaluing everything, the quality of life inclusive. So what is happening?
So we can take the message to the world as it unfolds at the moment. All right, 0705 500 1033, 0705 500 1033 or 091 6000 1033. Call any of those lines and we'll be ready to take your call. But before then, let's go for this quick timeout. And when we're back, the program continues. Please stick around.
we heard about a pending hotels and event place? The pending hotels and event place is your spot for relaxation and entertainment, featuring an exclusive bar where a collection of tasteful drinks and cocktails are served. Enjoy your meals at the lounge restaurant with a menu of piping hot delicious dishes. Take advantage of the magnificent lodge for comfort, equipped with modern facilities including 24-hour power supply and Wi-Fi connection. It also has an event hall to host an array of events from birthdays, weddings, guarantee. Handing Event and Hotel Place is located at number 33B, Jinarere Ishebo Alakia. Contact us via email at info@pendinghotels.com, on Instagram at Pending Hotels. Call us on 0705 442 Pending Hotels and Event Place, the perfect relaxation spot.
It is imperative that parents prioritize education for the growth and future of their children by enrolling them to a school that can help develop their capacity and potentials.
I-FLIER provide a serene environment, accommodating reception, well-equipped laboratory for biology, physics and chemistry, fully furnished classrooms, counseling rooms, e-library, halls for conferences, institute
Boasts of inspiring, captivating curriculum, academic excellence, social amenities and structures, as well as dedicated teachers who are more than ready to train your children academically and morally.
Admission is ongoing. Enroll your child to a primary and secondary classes today and enjoy the dividends of modern and quality education.
Join the high-flying team and visit us today at Unit 1 to 5, I-FLIER College Road, Ogunbade, Ibadan. For further inquiry, call 0815-815-8707
or 0805-331-6634. I-FLIER International School.
Nurturing I-FLIER.
All right, so welcome back from that commercial. Of course, let's quickly 100-1033 or 0916000-1033. These are the lines that you can call in. Don't forget, we're also streaming live on Facebook. You can go on Facebook to drop your comments. Let's see who has a comment on Facebook. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning to you, sir.
It's Comrade Molodo.
You're welcome, sir.
Sharia should be abolished in Nigeria because it is inconsistent with the constitution. Nigeria espouses a secular state where no religion will be imposed. So that Sharia is a security threat. So it should be dismantled. Thank you.
All right. Well,
please, Samson, permit me to just speak on that, please. When you are saying that Sharia should be abolished in the north, it's like you are saying that customary court should be abolished in the south, because it's a version of the customary court in the north. But the problem is that they overstep their boundary. You know, they have a limit. They shouldn't go into criminal, adjudication. So, but that's what they do. So they shouldn't go to the extent of cutting people out because they steal. No, it's not their jurisdiction. Their jurisdiction, is as permitted in the constitution, has to do with, issue of family, inheritance, and a bit of things. And it's only any willing Muslim that are subjected into that.
But so, then, in some part of that particular penal code, you look at it, where it has to do with the defamation, where it has to do with
those things, they are beyond the provision of the constitution for Sharia. It's not within their coverage, and the government sustained that. That is the problem. It's all about the government and not about the Sharia now.
Okay, 0705 500 1033 or 0916 1033. 0705 500 1033 or 0916 1033. These are the lines that you can call in to join the conversation at the moment. Also on Facebook, we can see I'm seeing Olasinde Abib Kamadupe says, well done, from Opeyemi area, Gbagi in Ibadan. Also Isiaka okay, is it Omajisuwon? Okay, Omajisuwon says we need state police urgently. Okay, all right. And of course, Busui Ajewole also says, good morning from Badeku, Leura, Jago State, Ibadan. Okay, And of course, we also see Isiaka. He also said something here again. He says, Mr. Analyst, cool your temper. Yes,
behave that way this morning.
All right, so well, those are the comments. You can keep the comments coming as well. I want to see. I think we have so many comments here. I don't know. Okay, let me see if they will surface now. I don't know why they are not surfacing as quick as I would like them to surface. Okay, let's see those comments again, if I'll be able to see them. All right, but you can keep the calls coming. 0705 500 1033. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning to you, sir.
You too, sir.
Yes, sir. You're welcome, sir.
Look, this is our very great country.
You didn't tell us your name, sir.
To follow the truth.
Your name, sir.
Particularly, Alhaji is my name.
You're welcome, sir.
From Ibadan. Particularly our government. If federal code not being practiced in Abuja's federal capital, if a criminal is charged in the federal capital, Abuja, is charged under penal code, find out. That's what is happening. Whatever this America is doing to us, we cause it.
Yeah.
Because of politics, we don't want to follow the truth. That's my submission.
Thank you, sir. All right, thank you for calling the studio line. 0705 500 1033 or 091 6000 1033. Those are the lines that you can call to join the conversation this morning. Let's talk about it. What do you think is happening in Nigeria? While we do the analysis on some of this story this very morning, we take a look at them one after the other. But Honorable, let's look at this particular story. A lot of things are surfacing, and we need to take a look at them, how they are unfolding at the moment. Let me take a look at this. I want us to take a look at this particular story. Israel. All right, Israel.
Well, of course, the president has mentioned that, we are engaging the world. So it's a combination of the two. So if we are engaging Israel, well, of course, if it's going to benefit us. But of course, I strongly believe that we are capable enough. We have the wherewithal to solve our own problems. Our problem is indigenous, and indigenous solution must go for it. So rather than engaging the world, but if it is even inevitable given the inaction of the government, then of course let it be.
All right, on Facebook we have few comments here. Olaleke Olutoyin says good morning, thank you so much. And Pastor Dr. Famui Wamukaila says good morning, Prof. Honorable JP. Okay, so calls you a politician, public commentator, and everything together. Educated and always relevant, constant and consistent, he says. And he further said, okay, greeted me as well.
Yeah.
And Tolu Alashe Adetola says, if the APC federal government is not ready to hear our outcry and insurgency through protests because they don't accommodate protests, it would have been better we report them to Trump so that they can do the needful. Trump's threat is a wake-up call for our government to do the needful on the issue of insecurity. Insurgency must end in Nigeria. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yes, this is Miriam from Odejai.
Miriam, you're welcome.
Thank you. As regards insecurity,
Right.
I believe it's not only within the Christians, but everyone in the country. It is right, it is important for federal government to tackle the menace from the root and provide maximum security. Well, I hope the Trump threat will be a wake-up call.
Yeah.
And I sincerely pray that things will begin to get better. Thank you, good morning.
All right, thank you, Miriam, for calling this morning. Pastor Dr. Famu also says, why are Nigeria leaders jittering because of Trump's threat? The simple answer is they are not doing the right thing.
Oh, well.
They're going to have mercy.
Go and ask Gorbachev. Go and ask them. Go and ask their mass. The fear of Trump is the beginning of wisdom for now. And maybe later it might not be that way, but for now, the fear of Trump is the big. Okay, you can see at the floor of the Senate, and Akpabio said, "Who am I to question America? Who am I to say that they should?"
I mean, that's laughable. I mean, for our Senate president, no.
On the floor of the House. So, the president himself will never say that. But you see, the people that doesn't understand how diplomacy works sometimes, they can go emotional and say all those all sort of things. But you see, I have a whole lot of documents of some correspondences between America and Nigeria over this issue, and Nigeria refused to yield. How will you put it when your president refused to show up at the United Nations General Assembly for 2 consecutive years? And that is where you engage the people, the world. That's the forum. So it's not about piecemeal or engaging, lobbyists to talk to. No, go speak your mind. Let them know who you are. Let them know your problem.
Family. Okay, Funlayo says good morning. Tolokwe Adeyemi says good morning. The news surrounding the proposed visa ban on Mietiala and their cohorts by the U.S. Congress is a good one and a welcome development because their activities truly poses threat to lives and properties of the average Nigerian, and they are the ones behind the clashes between herders and our farmers. It further says it seems the federal government has woken up from their slumber after the invading threat from the U.S. president because the security operatives are now being offensive in their approach to fighting terrorism, and this is also evident in the action of President Tinubu to rally in international diplomats